Hey guys, welcome back to episode 24 of Words Are Tough. My name is Jose Rodriguez and I'm here with my co-host
David Diokendo.
And we have some current events we want to tackle this afternoon. This very nice afternoon. The weather's actually a little nice for it being middle of December.
Yeah, for December is actually not that terrible. I mean, I've noticed little by little this podcast has become more of like a reacting to current events, but I think the hard part about like sticking to a particular topic is that it takes a lot of research. at least on my end.
Definitely.
Like when we have like, hey, we're focusing on, this thing for an hour straight, you get through a lot of, I won't say material, but stuff to talk about. But I also think current events are just good ways of like touching base or touching on particular topics that I want to talk about. But like that event that happened is a way to like jump off of. Does that make any sense? I think that makes sense, right?
Yeah, definitely. You're just checking in with where you're at in life,
It's like, oh yeah, this has happened. Oh yeah, what about me? Or it's a good way to sort of be introspective. But a lot has happened since we last recorded.
Yes.
Big time. But you had we're safe now, but you had a bit of like a COVID scare quarantine thing. We have had extended family members and things that were affected by COVID, but it doesn't really hit home till it really like is literally
immediate.
Literally hits home.
Yeah, it literally hits home, and then you really experience it. Whether people have their own opinions about the vaccines and the science and everything, it is going down and people are getting really affected by it. My fiance was in the hospital in the ICU for a little while, and it was very scary. Just knowing that some people are going through that and it doesn't turn out as favorably as it did for her is just makes me feel terrible, because the whole worst part of it is just not being able to be there with them.
Right.
And that's something like, that is very tough, because even for yourself, you're in that situation. It's like almost like a sudden loss, like what did I say to them the last time I saw them type of thing.
Right.
Yeah. Even though
you start thinking like, those little bit of conversations like weigh heavily more like, oh wait, that was like the last thing I said to that person. Like that doesn't feel right.
Yeah. And it's, you start getting those thoughts, even though like you could still text with them and stuff. She was in kind of a little worse shape in the beginning, but then, she started texting and things more, so that gave me good
hope.
Yeah, it felt like it was trending up, so that made me feel better. But yeah, I'm glad she's okay. We were both vaccinated, and I think personally, I think that helped her out a lot because she has other factors that could have and that's why she went to the ICU, because of those factors.
Other health issues.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And so I'm happy that she's okay and she's back to her cranky self. I hope she sees that. But
I'm my brother's cat that I take care of is the same way. If she's like super super docile, it's like what's happening with you?
Yeah.
All right. When she's cranky and like being annoying, and they're like, okay, she's fine.
That's what I do. She was back to 100%.
I don't want to compare your fiance to a cat. That's not good. Yeah, but when people, I think my brother's ex-wife, who was a nurse, told me like, if a patient is able to like complain a lot, usually they don't worry about them. Again, broad strokes, of course, that's not always the truth, but like that's what she said. Like for the most part, if the patients complain all the time, then usually okay, they're gonna be fine. They're still in pain and all that, but usually 9 times out of 10, if it's not terminal, they're gonna be fine.
Yeah.
If the patient is just like not responding, then they worry like, oh okay, this person isn't even responding to like basic like bodily functions like going to the bathroom, like then they're like, all right, you got to be worried about that. But I'm not a doctor, so
yeah,
nor do I want to be at this time. Honestly, I barely want to be a teacher at this time, but
yeah, how is that going now back to school?
Teaching sucks. It's terrible, and I know for sure I have like maybe 2 or 3 students listening to this, but it's not fun right now. In the past, is teaching difficult to some degree? Yeah. But in the past, I would say teaching is actually easy. It's the bureaucratic stuff that's hard. like all the stuff and, the powers that be, the superintendent of the district, all that. Like that makes a job hard. And usually the teaching is like, this is my job. I actually enjoy teaching. Everything else kind of gets in the way. This year is like the teaching is hard on top of the whole district bureaucratic nonsense, because a lot of kids, I would say, regressed. Most of I work in a high school. Most of the juniors and seniors are fine. Like, their behavior didn't really change that much, or their maturity didn't quite change that much. It actually kind of maybe improved. But it's the freshmen and sophomores where you say, oh, wow, like this behavior is not good for a sophomore, for like a 16-year-old. So first sponsor is Nbox. Give your home-based business its own mailroom. View your open and scan mail from an encrypted app. Have it forwarded, held for pickup, or shredded and recycled. We'll even include a commercial business address to protect your privacy. Visit www.nboxdelivers.com to see more.
And for our next sponsor, we have Premier Rank Marketing. They can help you out if you have a business, whether it's selling stuff online or you have a brick and mortar location, restaurants, gyms. The company's helped so many people during the pandemic grow their online presence. So if you need any help from social media to Facebook targeting campaigns, Google, LinkedIn, and all the other, even TikTok, they do TikTok ads. Just reach out to Premier Rank Marketing and let them know that WordsrTough sent you, and they'll hook you up with a huge discount. Our third sponsor here, we have Worldwide Solutions, located in Clifton. They do taxes, travel, and insurance. Any type of business needs you have. They can even, give you a good direction to go if you need some payroll services, things like that. And definitely check them out. Their info is right below. And our fourth sponsor is Rick's Barbershop in Garfield, New Jersey. If you have a important date coming up, you're going to a wedding, things like that, you're going to be photographed, definitely check them out. They're the most precise barbers in the area, and they'll definitely hook you up if you tell them WordsrTough sent you. Jose and David just mention those names, and they'll be like, no problem, right away. We'll hook you up. We just want to say thank you to all of our sponsors, and back to the show.
And is it their fault? Of course not. But it's good to acknowledge that, like, some of these kids, or just say for the sophomores, like the last time they were actually in the physical school was like December or January of their eighth grade year. And now you come back to school and you're already like in your second year of high school. So like what? So like a year and a half of like no social interaction in the context of school. You forget getting to school on time and going to class on time. Basic things like managing yourself. Like, hey, I'm going to that across the hall or across the school. Let me take this way, not that way. Or like, hey, I need my book and I got to get to that, part of the school. Let me go to my locker, pick that up, and then go. Don't go to like just kind
what's my combination?
yeah, like just kind of basic things like that. And I mean, it's and also just the fact that a lot of the sophomores and freshmen haven't socialized in such a long time. They still kind of socialize like they're in middle school. Like a lot of the talk, I'm like, this is not like really like kids like horse playing, like things like that. I'm like, what is going on?
That's interesting. You notice a very fine like dividing line.
Oh,
between
for sure. Like juniors and seniors, it's like I can talk to them like, hey, what's up? What's going on? Like freshman and sophomore. Again, not all of them, but it's a known thing. Like I've noticed, but one basic thing is usually by the time you hit high school, most students realize, hey, my teachers aren't my enemy. My teachers are actually my cheerleader. They want me to succeed. They want me to like go on to the next grade and graduate. Trust us, teachers don't want to hold you back. We don't we want to push you forward. And a lot of some of the freshmen and sophomores have the mindset that I'm trying to like fail them, or I'm trying to like hold them back, or like, no, I actually want to pass. This is why I'm like so diligent on like, you get to school on time, you get to class on time, do your work on time. Like, oh, but I have a few days to do that assignment. you say that until you have 10 more assignments from now to then, and you're like complain that you don't have enough time. But long story short, it's been just those things have really hindered a lot of like progress for a noticeable amount of students.
Wow.
You know?
Yeah.
I mean, some sophomores and freshmen, they're great. Like, okay, you're fine. Your household, your family, your circle kind of stuck together. You learned, you did what you had to do to get to here. You're fine. But there's a handful that, yeah, they got to catch up.
Yeah, you know, and that's funny. It's interesting you always say that, because I always felt like that was the age for myself, and just like around the 16-year-old age, where like there's some things where you're just too young to know, and then like you just start learning, like I guess maturity. You know, like some people are just naturally more mature. Some it takes a long time, but I just feel like 16, like you start getting like, all right, I shouldn't do this.
Yeah, like this worrying about what this person said about me. Like, oh, does it bother you? Sure. Are you gonna like, you know, I don't know, find them? I don't know. It's just like there's certain things where it could just be brain development, where you just start having a bit more foresight.
Yeah, and just
know?
like I think like more of like people's feelings, like how you affect people, I think starts.
Yeah, what you
in.
say actually does matter.
Yeah, I think like that was age for me, where I was like, before then it was like a free for all. Everyone said everything, and you know,
right.
That's funny because I have like a bit that I was working on, and like since we've been doing stand up like randomly.
Oh, you have?
And yeah, I haven't spoken about that yet.
Not at all.
Wow. But yeah, we did some stand up, and it's like one of those like I was always like, you know, when like I had some phases when I was on the skinnier side, but whenever I was big, my friends would always be like, but you know, you're not like that sloppy big, you know, you got like some muscle. And I'm like,
I know what you mean. I know what that means. I get it.
Yeah, and then I'm like, all right, thanks.
You carry it well.
Yeah, they're like, you know, like muscle, and I'm like, all right, okay, all right.
Like you're not fat, you're like thick muscle fat, not chunky monkey fat. Like, yeah, I know, I get it. Like, you know what it is? It's, I mean, I do think it's cool that we're like literally opposites in that sense. Like for me, it's like growing up for being super skinny. Like I was like 128 pounds and like graduating high school, like I was this twig. But for me, it was always like when people would call me skinny, thinking it's a compliment, and I would never took it as a compliment. Like, you're so lucky, you're so skinny. I'm like, thanks. Like, I don't like to be. And I think it's like other way around, I guess, for you. It's like people, no, you're heavy, but you're not, you know, like sloppy heavy, or I don't know. It makes sense, but it's still kind of rude. It's at the same time.
Yeah, so yeah, exactly. Like you said, like you know, it's double-edged sword kind of thing.
But a lot of kids, like they're getting their social etiquette back little by little. Some more than others, or some not at all.
For trial and error.
Yeah. Speaking of kids, actually had a student that recommended, I don't have this written down, that recommended to watch this one show called Money Heist.
Oh, nice.
Have you heard of that?
Yeah, my fiance actually just started it. She told me today.
I hate it.
Oh, yeah? You don't like it?
It is dog
it's
shit.
It's a Spanish show, right? Like from Spain?
It's from Spain. I think the translation, the actual title is not Money Heist. It's like House of Paper.
Did you say dog?
It's dog shit. It's terrible. Are we like 10 minutes? Yeah, we're good. There's like a little algorithm in YouTube. Like if you curse within 2 minutes, they could get flagged. But we're good. It's terrible. I mean, I'm not gonna spoil anything. It's one of those shows where they say, oh, well, you got to watch the first 3 seasons and it gets better. I'm like, if I have to watch 3 seasons of a show to enjoy it, then it's a terrible show. It's really bad writing. But pretty much in a nutshell, like there's this group of people that they have this idea to rob a mint where they make money. And they spend maybe like 6 months preparing. And all this is within the first 10 minutes of the show. And within the first, I don't know, hour of 2 of the heist, it just goes to hell. It immediately just messes up. And then the whole season is just like, how do they get out of it? But they never do, at least the first season. And you're watching this show and you're thinking, oh, at least like 3 days have passed by. No, it's more like 30 minutes. And
oh, okay.
So you're watching an hour of it, and then they tell you like, oh, it's only been like 30 minutes or an hour. I think actual real time. Like, really, are you showing this show in real time? So, and it tells you like within episode 2, like, hey, we're gonna be here for 12 days, and you're like, seriously, this is like episode 3 or 2, and you're telling me you're gonna be there for 12 days. It's such a bad show. I'm sorry. You can watch it if you want to pull your hair out, or if you kind of like being like watching a show where people make really bad decisions and you want to feel smart. Sure, like you're gonna feel super smart if you watch that show because people make the dumbest decisions. Like, like you would think, hey, we're having a heist. Wouldn't you put things into perspective? Like what's really important now, what's not so important. Like if you have like a little like, this is not a spoiler, but just say there's like if you have a relationship and they're kind of getting in the way of the plan, wouldn't you be like, hey, this is for like billions of dollars. Let's kind of like be responsible now and focus on the task at hand. Yeah. And then later we can do something. You know, it's not that at all. It's like the opposite. Like really, like you're going to pick this person over like millions and millions of dollars. You're in a mint. You already broke the law. You have hostages. What are you doing? It is such a dumb show. Don't watch it, or watch it and let me know what you think. Because
I'm gonna give it a shot just because of the Dali costumes.
Yeah, and that's how I got into it. I had I saw 2 people, a few costumes online and in person, and I'm like, what's this Dali costume get up? Like, oh, Money Heist. You should watch it. It's great. I don't know. I like shows where the people are smart. Even the smart guy is dumb, which is even the smart guy, the one that's like supposed to be the brains of the operation. Even he's like, I'm like, really? Like, what are you doing? I don't know.
Speaking of a smart guy that was dumb, you just reminded me of something. A smart guy that did something dumb, and also you said real time, so that also reminded me. Have you heard of this company, Better.com? That the guy did a Zoom call and fired 900 people?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. So, what the hell, dude?
It's on YouTube, too, and TikTok, if you guys want to see the actual thing.
And I read the article, but I didn't see the actual video.
Yeah.
So, how did that go?
He's very, like, straight up corporate style. Like, thank you for everything you've done, and we know you're going to succeed when you leave here. But if you're on this call, you're fired, and this and that. And then he's like, last time I did this, he's like, I've only had to do this one other time, and the last time I literally cried. Like, you're supposed to have sympathy for him now.
Yeah, last time I cried, this time I'm not crying for you. Like, is that kind of thing?
Yeah, and then it's like, he's like, I'm just trying to be strong for you guys, and I have faith. And then
trying to be strong for you. Like, really? Don't fire me.
Yeah, and then he goes, the worst part, though, is like, all right, that in itself, I can kind of feel bad for him too. There's no right way to do it. Like, you know what I mean?
There isn't. But really, 900 at the same time on one Zoom call.
Yeah, that's
what
like
if you
really.
What if you didn't attend a Zoom call?
Yeah, and then the problem is some of those people had like reviews. Like, how you have like a quarterly review with your company, and some of them were like reporting like, I killed it this quarter. You know what I mean? Like, I did so good. They had all positive things to say, and then they cut me off. And then this is the worst part. As soon as people got off that Zoom call, they were going to like try to reach out to other people in the company. Their email was shut down. Their phones were shut down immediately. Like probably during the call, they were like flip the switch on everything.
So all company devices, everything was just off.
They couldn't even receive the severance email with like their stuff,
all that important,
because it went to their work email. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was just terribly done, but
But what was that? What does that company do?
Better.com. To be honest, I didn't even look at that.
Better.com. Be better.
Yeah, be better.
Because you're assholes.
Yeah.
I understand about like, you gotta lay people off and, figure things out. But there's like ways of doing it. Like me as an art teacher, like I would never say, your artwork is dog shit. I would never say that because it's just rude, and you're not gonna. Did they look at me like, really? Did you just tell me that? And they'll just leave the classroom or just like not do anything. You kind of want to say, harsh things nicely,
mm-hmm.
and then encourage them, or like, okay, fire somebody, but then like provide sources or resources for them to like, all right, well, you can't work here anymore, but we have some connections for you to work elsewhere. I don't know. There's other ways of doing it other than just like a Zoom call for 900 people.
900 people on that call. And the worst part is some of these videos that were recorded, like you could hear the lady like, after all we just did, like I guess they were busting their behinds from home, like I guess because they weren't working. They were all home, like I don't know. That's why people keep seeing the numbers of unemployment, rising, and people leaving, like I guess leaving their jobs.
Teachers are quitting too.
Yeah, it's just like there's no loyalty in the corporate world, so it's like,
I mean, there's not much loyalty in the bureaucratic education world either.
Oh, shots fired.
Well, it's not. I mean,
is it kind of like there's like an inner circle in each like school and things like that?
No, just literally just a district, like overall, like yeah, it's just the way they're running things is just very like not. It seems like, wait, are you on our side or what? Like, whose side are you on? You're not on the like. It was kind of like, wait, don't you want us to keep working because you're making it really difficult?
Yeah.
So it's kind of that. No, within the school, like, oh yeah, all the teachers are like, we gotta stick together because like
that's good at least.
Yeah. Within teacher with teachers, and we're all like, we're not. There's no malice or anything. We're actually really helping each other out. It's very much the district that's like, why are you making our job harder? It's already hard. Why are you making it harder?
It's almost like someone's really high up is trying to like trickle down sabotage, like down the ladder, like
I don't know. It's just, but sometimes I won't say just for being a teacher, but almost there's some jobs I had where like it's like, even working in like Abercrombie and Fitch or like retail or whatever, sometimes they like make a rule and like, wait, this rule like makes my job 10 times harder because you have this rule now. Like I remember once I worked at Banana Republic and they had like commission, which is fine, but then they had then I think like 2 or 3 months in, they made like a mandatory commission, like you have to make X amount of sales, or like after 3 strikes you were gonna get fired or something like that. Like, thankfully 3 months later I quit because I got into grad school, but like you're kind of creating this sort of barriers. Actually makes my job harder, and then but will inevitably be my demise in this company or this business, or you fill in the blank. Like I think we mentioned in the past, I always feel like you got to support your employees, and then I remember one person critiqued, oh, teachers get paid too much, which is completely not true. And then I saw on Reddit, like someone else, like, why wouldn't you want, so you don't want people to live comfortably? Like if you have a person that's living comfortably and not stressed about bills, not stressed about, where the money's coming, if they're going to make ends meet, if they're going to feed their kids, that person will be happy to go to work and work for you. Like, duh. Like, yeah. Does the money make you a better employee, like in this case teacher? Indirectly, I mean directly, no. Like the more money you make doesn't make you a better teacher. But if you have a stress-free teacher, that teacher can teach stress-free, freely, and not without worry, without malice or any sort of like negativity, and that triggers. And then kids see that, and they're like, "Oh, this guy doesn't want to be here." And then they're like, I don't want to be here either. You don't want to be here. So it does trickle. So is money like the fix everything? No, but like having a comfortable pay to pay things and not worry about bills, it's like it helps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's weird because like you kind of see like sometimes it feels like in a lot of jobs they're trying to like give you just enough. So like you're fine to work, but like not enough that you get too comfortable and they think you're gonna just like be Relax. Good enough that you could leave at any time. Yeah. Like I don't know what their thinking is, but yeah.
Trust me, if I'm getting paid like, $5,000 a week or whatever, it's a bit ridiculous, but still, No, I'm gonna stay. Why would I quit? Like, no, you're paying me well.
Yeah.
Why would I leave a well-paying job? I want to stay and do as like. I might even show up earlier. I might even show up later.
Yeah.
Or might show up or stay longer and work free overtime, whatever. Anyway, none of this I even planned. None of this I even written down and talk about, but that's fine. That's whatever. But speaking of kids, there's this quote from a particular celebrity. I won't say who it is because... and it's about child rearing, and myself and my wife were talking about child rearing and like do's and don'ts. Are we having a kid now? No, but we did talk about like, hey, if we were had a kid, like, how would you want to go about discipline or not discipline, or what's physical discipline or not physical discipline, or just what kind of schooling should we move or homeschool, whatever. But this person writes or said in an interview, we respect our children the way we would respect any other person, which is fine, which is great. Things like cleaning up their room, you would never tell a full-grown adult to clean their room, so we don't tell our kids to clean their rooms. What is that? So let me say it one more time. We respect our children the way we would respect any other person. Things like cleaning up their room, you would never tell a full-grown adult to clean up their room. So we don't tell our kids to clean up their rooms. So if you had a kid, would you ever tell them to clean up their room?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Like,
I would tell them. And I'm one of those people that has a messier room. It's not super bad, but like making the bed and stuff like that. Like I'll not make the bed before I leave, which is something, in some of these self-help books and things like that, that's one of those things that people like try to say, hey, making your bed. And then you hear the studies that creative people don't make their bed, and then you're like, yes, that makes me feel better. But, I would always
those studies are so like
I'd always try
backwards.
to put my best foot forward for the child, for him to be prepared.
Lead by example kind of thing.
Yeah. So I'd make sure I get that done for them and let them know to do it, because that stuff goes a long way in your preparation in life. I think it's like one of those things, like it's one of the first things you do when you wake up. Morning routines are important. Just showing
cleanliness, just basic, just being clean, being a little bit organized. Respect your clothing, or respect your like if I bought my kids some shoes or several pairs of shoes, and one shoe is like hanging on the chandelier or whatever, and one's like, I don't have a chandelier, but whatever, or one's like in the garbage, and like I'd be like, I just spent X amount of money on these shoes. You don't respect, like, clean up your room. Do you want to guess who said that?
Hugh Jackman. No.
Interesting. I can kind of visualize him saying that. Like, before I say so, like, yeah, would you tell a full-grown adult to clean their room? No.
I think I kind of know.
But I have visited friends' houses, and I'd be like, dude, what? And they're like, I know. I'm like, come, dude. And they're not like, these are not like college kids. These are like full-grown, like, legit, like, Yale grads, like successful. They run, literally, they can run, like, around me with money and all that. They're great people. But there's some people who walked in, I'm like, dude, this is not acceptable. No, you wouldn't tell a full-grown adult to clean the room. But then again, your child, if they're a kid, isn't a full-grown adult. So you can't. Yeah, it's like.
Yeah.
So they're not. That's a false equivalence. That's like their correct. I believe I'm using it correctly.
Definitely.
It's a false equivalence that they equate one and the other. So the person that said this is Will Smith.
Oh, Will Smith. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
There you go. So that makes sense.
I was thinking Kanye, but
I can see that. But that whole misconception that like creative people have like dirty rooms, like I don't like that study keeps being mentioned, but like It's almost like that one study from like 2002 that came out that the best genetically, like I guess the one, I guess you can say, ethnicity with the perfect genes, as in like it's mixed. There's enough mixture of different like ethnicities and origins and put together that they're actually the most healthiest. It was like, I think the study came out, it was a Puerto Rican woman. One study, that's it. And then people started sharing it and said, look, Puerto Ricans are better than everybody. We're immune to everything. Not true. You still get sick. I know, I'm Puerto Rican. But it's just one of those studies that like, it was one article and then just exploded. As a creative person, as an artist, a practicing artist, I hate having a cluttered room. I don't know where anything is. The last thing I want to do is be in the zone or be in this sort of flow state and knowing where all my tools are or things are in its place. So when I need something, it's there and I could just go at it. Or, hey, I have paint there. All right, I can start painting. It may look cluttered if a person walked in and saw it, but for me, it's organized. So the whole cluttered, dirty thing is very much subjective. Mm-hmm. But I would think objectively, if you walked into my studio, it's pretty organized. Because the last thing you want is to be like in this state and you're like, oh, where's that mic that I need? Or where's that? Oh, wait, I don't know where it is. Like, then, no, that's not a really good place, a creative space to be in if you can't find anything. Yeah. So, yeah, maybe in another episode we actually talk more in depth when we actually have the study in front of us.
Organization and order.
Yeah. You got to be organized, you know.
Yeah.
But the reason we mentioned Will Smith and bad parenting, because that's really bad parenting. I'm sorry. Like, you got to... Cleaning your room is super important. Just clean up after yourself is super important. And also, like, who cleans their room then? Yeah. Like, who... Then it's like, okay, I can just toss things about and someone else will do it for me. Yeah. That mentality
it's like
is
Fresh
so
Prince,
backwards.
You know, like in the show.
Yeah. As I get older, I don't think he was acting. I think he was just being himself.
Yeah.
But speaking of bad parenting, I saw the movie called King Richard.
Oh, okay.
And
it's with the dude that was in Star Wars, right? I forget his name.
So it's Will Smith.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. I'm thinking about the other one with the Knights, but I think it has a very similar name. But yes.
Oh, the Black Knight? Oh no, the Green Knight.
No. It's with the dude from Star Wars.
Yeah. I know the guy.
Yeah. Well, he's in a new
English
movie
black
with the
guy.
Knight, and I think it's like King Richard III or something like that. It's called. But
interesting.
Yeah.
But King Richard is Will Smith plays Venus and Serena Williams' father.
Oh yes.
And that guy, I'm sorry. I literally wrote it down. Not a documentary, but come on. Like, I know that Venus and Serena Williams were like had a hand in like some of the writing. Like, for example, like just because I know this doesn't sound so messed up. Just because you're someone's like child does not mean you're objectively portraying that your parent and, honestly.
Yeah.
There's going to be a slight tilt, negative or positive.
They kind of like Will Smithified the dad.
Will Smithified him. Yeah, I mean, okay. So overall, is it entertaining movie? Completely entertaining. I loved it from start to finish. Will Smith's acting is really good. The John Bernthal's in it, the Punisher.
Yeah. He's like an agent, right, or something.
He's like a tennis agent.
Yeah.
The thing, okay. This is the thing that's really weird. Again, I wasn't there at the time. I mean, I was alive, but I wasn't there at the time. Of course, there's always creative leeway. There's some creativity that you kind of let go because it is a movie. It should be entertaining. Maybe the timeline isn't like correct, but you're telling a story. The thing I didn't really like, though, is like they weren't really honest on the motivation. They kind of made it as though... I mean, and he says it in the movie that like Richard wanted more black representation in tennis. Of course, he does mention money a lot in the movie, but he had no. Based on this interview that he even said, like he had no interest about like representation, about seeing a black woman or black man on TV. His I think I'm going to read it. So while in the movie, Richard says he was interested in tennis because it was a sport that featured so few black athletes. The real Richard often said he became interested in the sport after watching a women's match on TV and hearing that winner won $30,000. So they do talk about money a lot in the movie, but the one thing that really gets me, and this is not me misquoting because he said it, the actual father said it on CNN. He wrote, "What led me to Compton was my belief that the greatest champions came out of the ghetto." He wrote, "I had studied sports successes like Muhammad Ali and great thinkers like Malcolm X. I saw where they came from." He also told CNN, "There was no place in the world that was rougher than Compton. The ghetto will make you rough. It'll make you tough. It'll make you strong. So that's why I went to Compton with them." Like imagine having like 5 kids. I think he has 5 or 6 kids. Like, hey, I have 5 or 6 kids in a suburban area. Let's go to Compton. What is wrong with you, dude? Yes, you have. Yeah, Venus and Serena Williams came through that rough and toughness, but like, dude, like that is not sober thinking.
Yeah, especially you know what. Like with the in detail like description like that, definitely not tennis, because tennis is not like that sport in that area too. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
you don't think Compton? Oh yeah, tennis.
Like I could see going to like Minnesota and bringing your 3 sons there because you want them to be wrestlers and like live on a farm. You know, maybe that, but Compton is like dangerous. You know?
I don't equate Compton with tennis.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, if you want to get, like, if you're a father and you're like, I want my kids to be awesome wrestlers, like your example. I mean, by the way, Jersey is a great wrestling state. By the way,
definitely. Yeah.
Not like there's some like Jordan Burroughs is from New Jersey, and he's arguably like the best wrestler ever in the United States. I mean, him and John Smith are kind of like
New Jersey and PA.
Yeah, New Jersey, like PA, New York. You know, John Jones is from New York. Anyway, but yeah, okay, I'm gonna go take them to the farm and toughen them up, but there's an equivalence there. There's like a connection between farm, rough, working, and wrestling. There's a connection there, but like tennis and Compton.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't see I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but I don't see the connection there.
Yeah, it seems. Yeah, this seems very like almost counterproductive.
Yeah, like. Like, wouldn't you go to like that nicer? Watch the movie. It's a very. I'm not gonna say it's a very good movie, as in like the Joker. Like it's like the cinematography is great, the music is great. It kind of tugs at your heartstrings. As in the King Richard, you root for the guy, you root for the kids, obviously, even though like they're obviously successful. But so of course, it kind of takes you on a really good story, but like there are certain like plot holes when it comes to like, no, this information is like accessible right now. That's not accurate. You watch the movie, you do some research. Again, this is why I'm always like, not timid. What's the movie? Spencer came out with that Twilight girl. Jesus.
Kristen Stewart.
Kristen Stewart, yeah, she's in it, and it's like, dude, like, it's a beautiful movie. It's great, but I almost fell asleep. I think my brother did fall asleep watching the movie, and my mom just watched it like, why is she complaining all the time? Like, honestly, it's just. Every scene is Kristen Stewart, and she's crying the whole movie.
It's weird side notes. That's the first time I think I've ever said Kristen Stewart out loud. I've never said that name.
Yeah.
You just asked me who it was. I'm always like that Twilight girl.
The Twilight girl. Kristen. It just seems like how can we best look like Princess Diana, but like some people were saying, oh, she just completely like becomes the Princess Diana. Like, how do you know her? Like, you've met Princess Diana? Because I never have. I can't say whether she encompassed Princess Diana's like essence. Like,
yeah,
I don't know. But this is one scene, and I hunt or try to hunt. I'm not that good at it, but I try to. Where they go do quail hunting. They're literally pushing quails out. And they're shooting quails, they're hunting them. I'm using the word hunting loosely because they just raise quails in, is it quail? Yeah, they just raise quails in a farm, and then they put them out during a season. And the quails are like, oh, people. And they run towards people, and they get shot.
So it's almost like when you stock a pond with fish.
Yeah, it's like when you stock a pond with fish. I mean, it's literally a sport. There's no actual hunting happening. Like, I don't even think they even eat it. So it's just complete sport. But without the sport, you wouldn't have as many quails as you have. Anyway, but there's a scene where like they're pushing the quails into a field, and the people on the other side are shooting the quails, right? But of course, you don't shoot. You shoot up. You're not shooting at the people. And Kristen Stewart, who's Princess Diana in this movie, walks right in between that and puts her arms up like, I want my kids. I'm looking at this movie like, this is ridiculous. Like, what is this? Like if this did happen, like, you're there. I don't know. Princess Diana was not very smart in this situation if it did happen, but they don't really. I kind of left that movie like, I actually, Kristen Stewart made me like Princess Diana even less. Any movies that bother you? I've been seeing a lot of movies that just bother me.
I noticed that right now.
Like,
I had one question though about King Richard. Does Will Smith still have it? Is he still got it? That like?
Oh yeah, he's an amazing actor.
Still good. Okay,
yeah.
I haven't seen a movie with him since was it 7 pounds?
Yeah,
I think it's called. That
or
one was
7
good.
grains, 7 ounces.
Yeah, something like that, and it was really good. That one was really good, and then he had a whole bunch where he was doing like the iRobot and stuff like that, which was cool too. I enjoyed it, but people were like overly critical and things like that. The one he did with his son that supposedly he feels really bad about.
Yeah. Oh, the alien where they're like in like another planet thing.
Yeah.
And
it didn't do so well.
Bombed.
So and it was like the son's first big major movie.
Yeah.
So he kind of like was pissed at his
honestly,
dad.
Pursuit of Happiness was his peak, was that kid's peak, and then after that was like. And don't get me wrong, like, this is why I love watching like Marvel movies and DC movies, because it's like I'm not even this is just fantasy. People are flying, there's a boat, like a Hawkeye just shooting random aliens. Thanos snaps and half the world disappears. It's like, okay, I'm not gonna be critical. It's just fantasy. Yeah. But when you have like an actual person that's alive, like King Richard, like Richard Williams, it's like, what is this play between reality and like not reality? Like, I don't know. I always get really critical towards it. Like, just make a documentary.
Yeah.
At that point,
Yep.
And to have Will Smith reenact things, I guess.
Yeah.
Or the Princess Diana thing, or Spencer, as they put it. But I get really like annoyed. Honestly, I think it's seasonal. What do you call it? Seasonal depression or seasonal? What do you call that again?
I know what you're talking about. I don't know the exact term.
Where like the season changes and like everything bothers you. Yeah.
I've been taking vitamin D though.
That helps. Yeah. I need to take more of that, actually. I gotta triple my dose.
Yeah, I've been taking it on Fridays. I actually took it this morning, so I'm a little chipper.
I need. You know what? That's probably it. It's just when the season changes, like my wick, my candle. Usually it's like very long. It's this short. And any little things like that's bullshit, and just like I just leave. But today it happened where like I tried to present my assignment, the assessment, to my class 4 times. Wow. And every time I started, some kid walked in and said, "What are we doing today?" Or, "Oh, Kendo, you're here." I'm like, "I'm always here." Like, why wouldn't I be here?
You're here.
And like it happened 4 or 5 times. And the 4th or 5th time, I said, "Okay, the assignment today is," and another kid's like, "What are we doing today?" I just sat down and I just did a 1,000-yard stare. I just kind of sat there like this. And then like after 5 minutes, the kid's like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "No, I'm not. And I just said, just do the work is on Google Classroom. Go ahead, go on your Chromebooks and do your work. I'm just gonna sit here, and I just sat there for like the rest of the class, and they're like, all right, have a good day, and they left after the class was over. I'm like, I'm just not doing it today.
Yeah, sometimes they need that day. You know, it's like when you think you're gonna like get in trouble or something like that, and then you don't get a reaction. Then you
don't
like,
get in trouble. You're like, I'm really in trouble.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. But yeah, it's definitely. I'm happy this podcast, this episode has been a bit therapeutic to the point I literally did. I have so much to say and I didn't say any of it. But look at that, I match.
Yeah, we still have more for episode 2.
But we have like actually let's do it now because the UFC 269 is tomorrow, and by the time this episode comes out, it's gonna be like next month. I don't know when it's gonna come out.
No, this will be we'll say our predictions so we could see like how we did.
Yeah. So UFC 269. There's Charles Oliveira against Dustin Poirier. What do you got?
I am gonna go against the grain and go with Oliveira.
I agree with you.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think he has more options to finish the fight. I think Poirier can only finish a standing, but decision. I think Oliveira will get decision.
I think the only way Poirier wins is if did you just say if he wins by decision, Poirier?
No, I think Charles Oliveira wins by decision.
Okay, I think the only chance Poirier has is if it goes to decision and he outpoints him. Just because I know in the past Oliveira has kind of, when he was younger, he kind of like would be one of those that starts off hot and then like somehow gets weathered, you know, like they weather the storm on him.
There's always a moment in every Oliveira fight where he might lose. Yeah. And he kind of he gets himself out of it.
But I think if it ends quick, it's definitely Oliveira. I think he's better than him everywhere. I think jiu-jitsu definitely. And that, you know, Poirier's a black belt and he's great. He's got some great chokes, but
he's not a finisher with submission.
And just Oliveira's body type too. He just like clings on you and like, you know.
Did you see their stare down? He's literally looking down at him. He's looking down his nose at him. Like Jesus.
And even standing, like I think he's got the speed. What do you call it? Advantage. But Poirier's more of like that like combination boxer with movement that maybe that's where he could edge him, but yeah, I think Oliveira.
Yeah, and there's Amanda Nunes against Juliana Pena.
That one, God bless Pena, but I think it's gonna be Nunes again.
You know what? It's one of those things where like Juliana Pena's record doesn't really do her justice. She's 10-4, which is for fighting for a title. That's not the best. Like even for MMA, that's not the best. Like dang it. Brain fart record.
Yeah,
but I do think Pena might get her in trouble. Might get Amanda Nunes in trouble, like wrestling. She might get clipped or get ground and pounded. But I think Amanda will recover and get herself out of it. I do think Amanda's gonna win fourth round TKO.
Okay. I think the reason why Pena is getting this shot. Two things. At one point, she was on a trajectory to the title before Amanda was champion. Right. And that was like during the Ultimate Fighter times and all that. And then she had a very horrific knee injury at her gym, which involved a male, and they kind of kept it hush hush.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, it was very
some kind of like bullying incident that then the guy hurt her.
Like a hazing incident.
Yeah, and that was weird. I gotta dig into that. I want to know what happened there, but yeah, so then plus also the scarcity in the division of opponents for her. She already went through everyone. Yeah. I'm excited. I mean, not to go off track of the fight, but I'm excited for Kayla Harrison to come to the UFC. They've been talking about it a lot lately.
Is her name Kayla or Michaela?
I think it's Kayla Harrison.
Okay.
It might be Michaela, though. I might be wrong.
I have no clue.
Yeah, I haven't watched her fight a lot, but I know that I just want to see her beat Nunes, and then I think she'd probably retire after she beats her. Because that's the only real challenge on the horizon, Yeah.
I actually am going to retract when I said many months ago about Amanda Nunes being the best active fighter. I think I changed my mind to Usman. Because he's doing his second lap of once he beat Cody. Colby Covington. He's just doing a second lap. He's like, okay, I'm gonna do it all over again. I'm gonna be every guy again, like George St. Pierre. That's something that Amanda has not done. She has beat people one time, convincingly one time, and then moved on. I think if she actually, she can't really beat Cyborg again because she left. She can't really beat Ronda again because she left. But still, if she actually did the whole thing again, then I just think the fact that he's beating everyone, he's going for the second lap around. I think that's pretty legit. Cody Garbrandt against Kai Kara France. Or Cara France. I don't know how to say it.
I'm going with Team Alpha Male Cody. I got to stick with Team Alpha Male.
Yeah, I think so too. Honestly, I haven't seen Cara France fight that much, but I know he's pretty good.
He's good, and he's in that gym with Dan Hooker, right?
Yeah.
He comes from that gym.
I want Cody Garbrandt to win because I want to see him against Sean O'Malley, Sean O'Malley was fighting Rallian Pave. The thing is that Sean O'Malley fights guys that they're good, but they don't have a name. And Cody Garbrandt had a point in their press conference, who did you fight? And obviously, it's a bit of an insult because he's saying everyone he fought are schmucks, but it is important to have people on your record that are have a name. It is important.
Yeah, you don't want a record like Tommy Fury. Have you ever seen him? He fought some guy that's 10 and
Tommy
138.
Tommy Fury is Tyson Fury's brother.
Tyson Fury's brother that was going to fight Jake Paul.
Yeah.
Yeah, he fought some guy that's 10 and 138. He's
Jesus. All right. Anyway, and then there's Dominic Cruz against Pedro Munoz. I'm rooting for the veteran Dominic Cruz.
Yeah.
He's my age, or maybe a year younger. Please, I don't want your feet to fall off, but wrap up those feet.
Yeah.
He is really bad. Plantar fasciitis, so he's gonna be from his shin down to his toes, he's gonna be wrapped up.
That sounds painful. That plantar.
And then Tai Tuivasa against Augusto Sakai. I'm skipping a bunch of people just because of time.
Yeah.
I think again Tai Tuivasa.
We gotta go Tai Shui.
Yeah.
Shui Vasa.
Yeah, because I don't know. I'm waiting for him to just his thing to just explode. But Tai Tuivasa, he's one of those guys where before you know it, you're like, wait, what? He's fighting for a title? But convincingly, he's one of those guys. He's gonna. They're kind of letting him simmer in the prelims. They're kind of heating him up a bit, and I think they might. Let's wait till after. Oh my gosh, Cyril, who's fighting for the title?
Cyril Gane.
And Ngannou.
Francis Ngannou.
I will predict this now, and I might even copy this. I see Tai Tuivasa against John Jones.
Oh yeah, that'll be a good one.
That'd be a good fight.
Real good one. And then winner gets next title shot.
Maybe, but I would love to see that.
Before we end the MMA talk, just a few things I wanted to say. I think Usman, going back to what you said about Usman, I think that Israel Adesanya is kind of messing things up for him because he doesn't want to fight him because they're on the same.
Yeah, they're buds.
They're Nigerian and all that, brotherhood. But he was supposed to beat Jan Blachowicz, and then that would open up the lane for him to go up a weight class and take that belt, vacant belt. And then he was going to fight John Jones. But now he's stuck because he lost.
Because he's not going to.
And now Usman can't go, which I think Usman would beat Israel, to be honest with you. Because of his,
the wrestling. Yeah,
he would just smother him and it would just not be. It would be like Jan.
And the fight that Adesanya did, he won but got really beat up was against a short guy, which is Kevin Gastelum. Yeah. So it wasn't even a size thing. Gastelum was a very short guy for that weight, and the last fight where Izzy got really hurt. He won, but he got really hurt. So yeah, it's it's kind of weird when you befriend other fighters because you're gonna eventually But that's what happened to Amanda Nunes and Kayla Harrison, where they saw the writing on the wall and they'd we can't train together.
Mm-hmm.
This is years ago.
Yeah.
This is like many years ago. So they just don't even like. I don't think they even train in the same place anymore. But there was a point years ago when they're like, oh, who's this up and coming Olympian and coming like up, and like they're like, oh yeah, she's gonna be a contender like in the future, so I can't train with her or be her friend.
Yeah,
which I get. Be friends after.
Yeah, definitely. And there's definitely this one kid when we do a more like I guess sports oriented one. There's this wrestler on the scene that is a freshman in college, and he's beating like Olympians right now. And I was watching his videos the other day. I gotta check his name. I didn't have it prepared. I didn't know we were gonna talk about stuff. But definitely I'll try to put it in the notes just to like blast his name out there. If you like wrestling, check it out. It's really impressive.
When wrestling season hits, which is it's getting there. I mean, it's still like high school and also college. Officially, this season hasn't technically started yet. I don't think.
No, yeah. It's usually Thanksgiving they start for the Christmas tournament.
Yeah. But when that happens, I'll definitely start talking more wrestling talk.
Yeah.
Yep. But yeah. By the way, we're just to give you guys more context. We're filming this a day before UFC 269. So if you're like thinking like, wait, did that fight happen like a week ago or 2 weeks ago? So we might be completely off. Or maybe not. I don't know. So we'll see what happens. We might just look completely.
And there's
like
stuff
idiots.
that happens today, as in Friday, that really heavily factors into those fights that we would see normally and be like, oh, you know what? He's definitely not right.
Right now there's probably having their stared on press conference, whatever thing.
There's someone somewhere pressing down on a towel. You know?
Yeah, we don't even know. Maybe like Oliveira didn't even make weight. I have no clue. We'll see afterwards.
But hoping all the cards stay intact, and we will get this episode out to you as soon as possible this week, just so we can check out our record, how we did.
So far, I'm since starting this podcast, my predictions have been terrible. Poopy caca, terrible.
We'll see.
Terrible.
I think we kind of see eye to eye on this card.
That is true.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's been another great episode. Thank you so much for spending the time with us. One thing I do want to mention, leave some comments about, anything in the episode that you want us to touch on, or, something that we missed that you don't want us to talk about in the future. Also, like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. It helps us out a lot with the videos. And, lately we pushed the videos in certain ways, but we've had some difficulties with certain episodes because of some of the topics we cover, which this is part of the learning to navigate the algorithm. And
we have day jobs, unlike other people like Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
But definitely, share it with somebody, tell them to subscribe if you can, if you like the podcast. We really appreciate it. And we'll see you in the next episode. My name is Jose Rodriguez.
I'm David Diokendo.
And this is Words Are Tough.